I should think she has some more questions, so
Okay.
come on.
Go ahead. Three questions.
Oh, no, this is not a tree question.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe Joe.
I'll be there tomorrow, I
maybe
promise.
Joe will answer
I'll run the whole neighborhood
If
out.
not, if he doesn't answer, we can always, address it.
Stay
So,
here.
Rosemary Pizza, 176 Oldfield Avenue. Okay, so we seem to be a cluster. And I guess that's what we're talking about here now. The trees are, as you say, an issue. What we experience by us is not the trees being an issue. It's whatever grid we're on. We are a cluster. Half of our block, I mean, we can be out for 2 days and everybody else has electricity. We're freezing. We have people on life support that are in our cluster. We have people with children in our cluster. We have people with elderly. We have no heat. We have no electricity. We have our appliances are taking a beating every time they're on and off and on and off. Then you get a surge and all the appliances go back on. I mean, my compressor in my refrigerator is going because it's constant. This is an ongoing problem. And so I guess mostly what we're frustrated about is the fact that we're hearing about the trees, we're hearing about East Rutherford, Carlstead, whatever. It's true. Whatever grid we're on or when we were placed on this grid, it's different. Most of us have lived in this particular cluster for over 40 years. We have never had a problem. Suddenly, within the last 3 years or so, it's a constant issue with us. So what we're asking you for is an answer as to why this has happened most recently, when most of us have lived there over 40 years or plus, and we never had an issue before. We're in the same houses, with the same space, with the same electricity as we have had for 40 years. In the last 3 years, there's a problem. So what we're all thinking is that we were switched off of what we used to be on somewhere and put on some other, outer space grid that, has taken a toll on us, on our cluster. It's this particular area between Franklin and almost to, Henry to almost to Franklin. This grid, whatever we're on, it really is frustrating for us. And we're at a point now where, I tell you what, more interruptions like this, we're all ready not to pay our bills. I mean, if we don't have service, how can we pay for a service we don't have? So we need this addressed and we need it fixed.
John, can I ask my question? And hopefully he'll answer it while he gives his explanation. I'm an engineer for Canada. I do troubleshooting every day. And we come across different things all the time, and a lot of times it has to do with transformers. Certain models will have transformers done by a certain manufacturer, and they're not as reliable. So I have a couple questions regarding the transformers. How old are these transformers? Are they the same in every town? Do they have the same spec? And have any new transformers been replaced in the last 3, 4, 5 years that maybe they're the problem? And the reason why I say that is because there's a resident on Franklin Avenue, the 300 block, the same block I live on as far as the 300 range is concerned. I'm on Washington Place. They lose power, I lose power. They explained to me that a few years ago, PSE&G had added a transformer on the 300 block, hoping that it would share the load and reduce power outages. And according to them, it has not worked. So I started wondering about the transformer. So that's really what I'm looking at. How old are they? Have any new ones been replaced that maybe there's a defect in there that we don't know about?
Well, I'll let Joe handle that, but last year around this time, it was another 2 weeks, we replaced a lot of transformers. So around the whole area, there was a lot of transformers that were blown. A lot of them got replaced out. I can't give you the exact number, how many were upgraded, but I can tell you what Joe has worked on now, and he can talk about that a little bit more.
Good evening. My name is Joe Valenti, and I have permission to go a bit talk to everybody. Is that okay?
Certainly.
Speak louder, Joe.
I'm not loud, that's no
Like
problem.
you do in the office.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Like I do in the office, right? All right. what we did then after, you know, with the situations that you guys had, we went out, we're patrolling the whole circuit. Okay, we're not done yet with it, but we're patrolling everything. We're looking at everything that's out there, you know. And we are finding some problems, you know, spacer cables, stuff like that.
What's a spacer cable?
It's, you know, that holds the wires, you know, the ties, some of them are like, you know, older already. So we're going out there, we're looking at everything to see if you know, we can correct your problem. Right? It's not only the transformer, it could be a lot of things, like Dave said. The system is all interconnected with all the substations throughout. You screw out the first, converting switch, all the way out, so everything's interconnected. The reason why it's interconnected is because if it's not interconnected, if you go out, you'll be out for hours and hours and hours for us to get back to fix it. So the system is interconnected, so if a car hits a pole, okay, it senses. What's going to happen is, if the pole comes down with wires, what we try to do is we try to get you right back to another circuit and everything. So it gets everything. So what I'm seeing is, what we want to do first, we also put in breakers, just, you know, to make small pockets where if you get hit in one section, it doesn't affect you. So we're trying that route first.
So that's a fuse, Joe? That
It's just a fuse, yeah. Just like in your house. You have different circuits in your house, the same thing. It doesn't, one goes off, right, it doesn't affect the whole house. You still got power somewhere else. So we're looking at the circuit in detail. We're going to see what's going to happen. I mean, we're also going to look at, you know, where you're, you know, how you're being fed. Are you at the end of the run? All that kind of stuff. We're going to look into all that stuff to make it better for you. Because, you know, I don't want to be up here either. I want you to have power. You have power, you're going to, you know, it's good for everybody, for the company and for you. So give us an opportunity to, you know, do what we have to do, and hopefully, I think it's going to be a lot better for you.
So let me just ask, have you put transformers out there? You changed it?
Yes,
transformer.
Yeah, we have transformers, but the transformers we use it everywhere. It's not like isolated just to Hasbrouck Heights. We're going to put that type of transformer. When we buy transformers, we put it everywhere. Jersey City, Hasbrouck Heights, Woodcliff Lake, whatever we have to go, that's the transformers we use, and we're not seeing that problem. So, you know.
What is the rule of thumb for replacing a transformer? How do you know it's good or not good?
Transformer usually,
What's its life expectancy?
we have some transformers that are 50 years old.
How many?
50 years old, 40, 50 years old, and they still work. And there's newer transformers that fell before the old ones fell, you know.
Our substations are 60 plus.
And they're still out there, you know.
And they have transformers in them, and they're still working.
Okay.
So that's why we're upgrading them.
So what you're doing is a process of elimination in your investigation. You're starting with the trees. You haven't reached their trees yet, some of them, and who spoke last month, correct? So you're still a process of elimination. You're taking care of that, you'll be looking at their section. You're taking care of other areas, including what? Have you looked at so far?
We have started from the beginning. We have even gone to their area and taken a look at it and starting to fix stuff over there.
I know, but what are you looking at?
I'm looking
You're
for-
looking at trees.
If you're doing trees, I'm looking like, if the wire's out of the pin, if there's something that could shake it where, you know, the wind or a tree hits it or something like that, we're taking care of all that stuff. Because that's what you're gonna get your momentaries.
Do you infrared the circuits at all?
Is
Yes.
the productivity of a transformer readable on some level of equipment that you have? I mean, like, you know, the train stations have a whole big map of lights going on and off. Do
Well,
you have lights going on and off? Oh, it's this one.
like,
it's that
that's
one?
not a regular transformer.
No.
The only time we see a transformer that has a red light is when it's overloaded, we can tell.
Okay.
Then what we do is, add another transformer and separate, you know. We put
So there's no major control where somebody's sitting there watching?
Not the transformers out in the field, no.
Okay.
Big transformers from the substations, yes, but not, you know, we have
Curious.
thousands of transformers out there, there's no way we can do it.
This whole room would be lit up with little lights.
No, I understand that. But I'm trying to
Yeah.
ascertain what method. So it's like a trial and error method.
But it's no different than things at your house sometimes. When they
Right.
break, you fix it, right? And, you know, if things are operating correctly, we
I was
don't.
just hoping, like we're in the 21st century, that there's some major room where you can see what's
Well,
going on.
we started to talk about it a little bit, brought up, we do that thing called infrared search. Some piece of equipment that goes around that we have from our lab, and they monitor, they look at the line, and we can tell hot spots in the line where connectors are weak,
Okay.
overheating,
Okay.
and then, of course, it's sent to
So
the
what you're
overhead.
doing in these areas is the process of elimination.
Right, that infrared comes along with tree trimming,
A
right?
checklist, so to speak. Okay.
Where we think the problem is, and then we'll just keep on going until we find it.
Okay, that satisfies me, as long as you, that, what you just said, we keep on going till we find out
Oh, right,
what the problem-
right.
how to resolve the problem. That's good, that makes me happy.
Okay. Well, we do maintenance every day of the week. I mean, it's not-stop, you know. We
I understand.
Might not be here
No,
always,
I
but it's in
understand.
another place, but we're maintaining.
Well, I'm thinking in terms of the people who said that they have a multitude of outages.
Right.
They are really tired of them. Right now, you're truly investigating that particular situation. And you're going through a process of elimination. And you'll continue to do that till you find the problem?
Until I retire.
No.
No, what we'll do, Mayor, is we'll try and address everything.
I got another 10 years, I think. I'll stay right
What
on.
we've already seen.
I hope you resolve it before you
Me
retire.
too. I don't want to be every month.
What I think we've already seen, and as you said, I know you're nervous, I know it's next week or so is gonna be Halloween, and the past couple of years hasn't been too good for us.
That's right.
So we're all a little on edge, you know, of what's coming up, you know, from down south. But what we have done in town, and probably more than most, is we've done some advanced work here, and we've taken care of these issues. I think what I'm hearing though is over the past month, right, from where you had it was a daily issue, it's improved. And we're continuing to do that. So some of the measures that we've done have done some improvements. We're also, just so you know, when it comes from Willow Street in East Rutherford, we just put some new facilities down there, which we just energized, maybe a month ago or so. So that's Van Winkle. And so there's things that are in other substations that we're working on, and I talked about those lines that we're putting in, when those new lines come in and when they're around, when we put new poles up there, new infrastructure, especially with this team that's doing that, it's all new transformers, it's all new wire, it's new insulators.
So I'm hopeful that when you go to their area, some of those intertwining and mesh wires will be the point of their problem. And you might be able to
We'll trim
resolve.
exactly like we did the rest, so
Right.
be ready.
Right.
I just want everybody to remember that below a certain, what's the marking? Below the street light is probably is a good indication. Below the street light is not us.
Right, that's correct.
All right, that's probably the easiest way to determine. When you say, oh, it's intertwined with wires and there's wires down, that's all telecommunications, all right? That has nothing to do with your power. So below the street light, if there's a tree that's all wrapped up and wires all on the tree, that's not us. All right, that's telecommunications. So if your cable's going on and off.
And they don't impact the electricity.
Correct. Right, so.
Mayor, I have a question. The residents there are saying 3 years. Can you go back in your diagrams and find out what's changed between
Yes.
3 years?
I will do that.
Okay,
Definitely.
then I have a question for you. Is the customer relations for public service going to be better than what these people have experienced so far? With calling up and not getting a response?
You know, we've addressed that from last year's storm, talking about our inquiry center for the utility, and some of the responses, like you called up last year during the storm and said, and I think I heard it too here, was you said that we're out, and they said, no, we have you back on. We've addressed that. You know, employees should kind of figure out that if there's a storm and you're calling in to say you're out, you're out. All right, but we've worked on that. We've worked on some other technology that we're constantly looking at new things. Again, I mentioned the Energy Strong proposal. Hopefully we get that through, the BPU, and that goes through, because those type of initiatives with that Energy Strong will not only beef up our substations, especially in this area where we have tidal surges. We've seen them now. We live in a tidal area. So where we have substations in those areas, that'll fortify them a little bit better. So, we're in better shape. Because remember, and as I said, it takes 5 days when a substation is compromised by brackish water or seawater. Right? Brackish water, 5 days to clean. Just like I said before, if you put something with salt water, it will corrode very quickly and keeps corroding. So it takes us, we have to figure it out, 5 days. So if we can eliminate that 5-day piece, you would have been restored in 4 days last time. So that it will protect, maybe there'll be outages, but it will make it quicker for us to restore you. And additionally in that program too, there is a piece of SCADA. And when I talked about SCADA, that's the equipment on top of and on our line so we can identify and do some switching between the circuits to get power to certain areas. So we can isolate. There may be a pocket of residents, but it's not the full community of Hasbrouck Heights. It may be this pocket over here, but we limit what we have to work on, and then we can go in and target that area to work on with our crews. So those type of things, we're looking at those.
Those are storm situations that I was talking about 3 years ago. It's changed. What we're talking about now is the day-to-day on Oldfield Avenue. So that's the problem we're addressing at this point in time. So you're going to be looking at their trees,
And my part is easy.
looking at their equipment, and then you're going to give us an update in a couple of weeks, written report, so you don't have to come back in 2 weeks. Yes, no, David?
That's it. That's his department. So
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with
Could you
it.
please address
Could he send the report to you, Dave, and then you could send it to me, or however you want to do it?
he can go directly.
As long as I get it.
We'll just get it right to you.
I'd just like to I think it's really important. It's wonderful that you gentlemen are all here together, and that shows, my friends and my neighbors, that you understand that this is a critical situation for us. And it's not like we don't care about the rest of the residents in Hasbrouck Heights, but I know that the rest of the residents in Hasbrouck Heights have trees that you've taken down. They have squirrel issues. They have mylar balloon issues. It's not just Oldfield Avenue that has mylar balloons. So my point is this. My point is that this is a crucial situation to us because of the time of the year. It's also crucial for us because we have continuous outages on a consistent basis, unlike the rest of the town. So you usually treat the area that's bleeding the most first. So I praise you and I commend you for looking at other areas in town where the trees should come down. But I urge you to please take care of this, and I would ask that you come back personally and listen to us the way,
They can give us a report in 2 weeks.
Rose, but I'm going to tell you something. It's been 3 times that the people on Oldfield Avenue have showed up. And a report is wonderful, but personal communication is much better.
I agree, but if the problem is resolved in 2 weeks, why not ask?
But it sounds like they haven't diagnosed it yet.
Well, they
How
can-
about I offer this? Why don't we do something that within a couple of weeks, and perhaps not so we come out all in the evening, maybe during the day, we can come in here, sit down, I'll bring a box to Joe, and if there's no more
How
problems,
about that?
we'll sit down, we'll talk through and say, how are we doing out there? Is that good in maybe 3 weeks, Joe? And then guys come back during the day, because I may have different crews that are actually out there during the daytime that I can bring in, and we can develop that dialogue with you.
Then you will let the borough administrator know, and he will notify the people.
Absolutely, and I think.
When you will be here.
Absolutely.
You can tell us right now.
No, we're going to do a couple more weeks of work
Okay.
addressing it, and hopefully God will take care of us this year, and we won't have to,
Very
and we'll be up here.
So the timeline is you will be coming back or you will be coming back?
He's coming during the day.
I think what we can do is come back here and have a committee meeting.
A person-to-person
With this group,
meeting.
because I think the residents, we're starting to isolate a smaller group, right? We have about 10, 15 houses, is what I'm hearing.
Well,
Right?
a few more than 10.
Not everyone is here.
No, we have more people.
We have more. They'll be here next time.
But they'll all be here.
Bring co-box, Joe.
Some of them couldn't make it.
Could I just
Go ahead, David.
I'll offer that out there, I'll offer the report.
Just let me clarify one thing. If you don't want him to be here during the day,
Some of us
let us
work.
know. I know that. But what he's saying is that he will be working on the problem, and if individuals want to come in, don't get frustrated because they are trying.
With all due respect.
Yes.
We were here September 6th, and they were supposed to work on it. They worked on the other side of the block. We isolated.
I don't know why they.
I don't either.
I don't know why they didn't check the list of the petitioners, because they would have had a nice thank you from all of you tonight had they started with your end.
Absolutely
And
correct.
I can understand your frustration, and you can understand their frustration. Other people are getting the benefit of their work.
And I've heard no outages.
That could be luck. Okay, but I'm gonna give you the benefit. No, you were sarcastic, I can be sarcastic too.
I'm not being sarcastic.
I will be here, I will be at every meeting until I can go to 155 and 180. That has life support and oxygen.
That's fine.
Until that day that I can tell those neighbors and all of my other neighbors that this was taken care of, I will be at every meeting.
Okay. But again, just to know, they are working on it, and they are physically in town. They haven't left. And they are making some kind of progress, if you haven't had an habit. Because when you first came, you said at least 4 times a week it was going out, didn't you?
This is Mayor, if I may say so, John O'Donnell again.
This is one of the mildest seasons we've ever had. We had outages when all it was doing was raining.
I know.
I mean, it shouldn't happen. It never happened. And I've been here for, again, 45 years.
Well,
Go ahead, David.
just to reiterate, it's not just happening in their area, it's happening in pockets where I've had it in my house 3 times in one day, I'm perfectly clear of that. But my question goes back to the transformers, when you said that, you know, a lot of new ones are being replaced, and are they the same manufacturer, or are they different manufacturers at different times? And the reason why I ask is because in my industry, their manufacturers are always being changed because there's always a cost factor involved. And when I first started with Canon 20 years ago, first 10 years I worked there, for example, a laser, you never replaced a laser. They never went bad. Now, I replace 4 or 5 lasers a month. Some of them come bad out of the box, some of them come bad in the machine. I had a brand new box today, bad out of the box. So I'm just wondering, you know, are they the same manufacturers, or do they change from, you know, every 3 years or 5 years? Because just because you replace something that's new doesn't mean it's going to work.
We have not been taking transformers down, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
I was under the impression they were being replaced with
well,
new.
not all the transformers are replaced. I mean, if we find a faulty one, we do take it down, but it's very rare that we do that. It's very rare. So my opinion is, it's gotta be something else. Either the connector might be bad. What I'm gonna do tomorrow, I'm gonna get the lab out there again. I'm gonna be riding with them. You will see me tomorrow. All right? You will see me in your neighborhood. Okay?
No,
Yes.
by 159,
I'll-
151.
I will knock at your door.
I thank you,
Okay?
thank you.
I'll be there tomorrow.
You got
I'll
that
send
address
my wife.
in Frank.
All right?
Like 155 Oldfield Avenue.
Sir, please tell me
I
your
just have a
name
question,
again.
I'd like to know.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, you didn't get your name.
Oh, all right, Fekete, F-E-K-E-T, 155. My wife is on oxygen 24/7, and my question to you is, why can't we be switched to another grid? Now, I've been living there 20 years, and it's only the last 3 years that this happened. We must have been switched, we had to have been switched to something else.
Give me an opportunity. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna look at if you guys will switch or not. If you will switch, I will let you know you will switch. And we'll go from there, okay? Give me the opportunity to look at that, because I haven't looked at it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I will personally be out there tomorrow with the lab guy. You guys will see me, 159, right?
Right.
I will knock at your door, 159.
At 155.
And 155, no
Right
problem.
next door.
Right?
176